Hello, my friend. Have you ever had the feeling deep down that the world isn't quite what it seems? That the solid, predictable reality we navigate every day is perhaps just the surface of something far more profound, more intricate, and maybe even computational? It's a question that has echoed through philosophy for millennia and now whispers in the halls of theoretical physics and computer science. The idea that what we perceive as physical reality might be a kind of grand, interactive illusion, a simulation, a dream, or a projection from a deeper level of existence. This isn't just a thought experiment for late-night conversations. It's a powerful lens through which we can re-examine everything we think we know about ourselves, our world, and our purpose within it. So I invite you to join me on this journey of questioning. Let's, for a moment, suspend our disbelief and explore the possibility that the universe is fundamentally mental, a vast ocean of consciousness in which we are but individual, self-aware waves. What if the very fabric of existence is information, and our minds are not just observers, but active participants in its creation? This exploration requires courage, an open mind, and a willingness to look beyond the comfortable narratives we've been given about who we are and what is real. It's a path that can feel lonely, but it's also where the most profound discoveries about the nature of existence are made. In this video, we'll walk through 15 principles, 15 keys if you will, that can help unlock this deeper understanding. Each one is a step further down the rabbit hole, a new perspective that will challenge your assumptions and, I hope, expand your conception of what is possible. These aren't dogmatic rules, but rather signposts for your own exploration. They are tools for deconstructing the matrix of your own mind and rebuilding it with greater awareness, purpose, and freedom. Let's begin this fascinating and perhaps life-altering exploration together. Everything we call matter is just a rendered interface of underlying mental equations. The universe is fundamentally mind, or information, structured by mathematics. You are a localized, self-aware pattern in a collective mind system, a node capable of running, and even rewriting, your own source code. This world is a shared dream, a persistent training ground where minds learn, create, and evolve by interacting with programmed constraints and each other. Your inner state and your outer circumstances are not separate. They reflect and influence each other. True transformation, honestly, requires working on both simultaneously. Lasting growth comes from unifying apparent opposites, light and shadow, order and chaos, into a higher synthesis, not by repressing parts of your being. You must prioritize rational, structural, and mathematical reasoning about reality's nature over what your limited senses and surface appearances might suggest. So, let's take a moment to really examine your conditioning from family, culture, and, the media. Try to recognize it as programming, and then, consciously choose which lines of code you actually wish to keep. See human as just a developmental stage, like a set of default parameters. The goal here is to evolve into a more conscious, self-directed, maybe even post-human being. Your purpose isn't to reject or escape this world, but instead to transform and co-create it as a grand, collaborative, and honestly, a really meaningful artistic project. Pain and limitation are not punishments, but valuable information. They are, system alerts that signal where your code is misaligned, prompting you to debug. Relentlessly observe and restructure your thoughts and emotions. Don't let your life be run by unconscious processes or inherited, unexamined mental scripts. De-emphasize belief in things you're told. Instead, pursue direct personal understanding, logical coherence, and, honestly, repeatable experiential insight into the nature of reality. So, your personal identity and its death are really just patterns in the mind system. Continuity, exists at the level of information, not the temporary avatar. Your individual work on consciousness is actually tied to our collective evolution. When enough transformed nodes come together, they can shift the entire pattern of our shared world. Recognizing yourself as a conscious node in a mental universe means, well, you are fundamentally responsible for shaping yourself, your experience, and the world. We've journeyed through these 15 principles, each one a door to a different way of seeing the world and ourselves. The path doesn't end here. Honestly, this is just the beginning of your own personal inquiry. These ideas, that reality is mental, that you are a creator, that suffering is data, are not meant to be passively accepted. They're meant to be tested, wrestled with, and integrated through your own direct experience. The most powerful transformations, they really don't come from watching a video, but from the quiet, difficult, and beautiful work you do within your own consciousness when the screen is off. So, I have a question for you, a kind of challenge. Which of these principles resonated with you the most? Which one felt like a key turning in a lock you didn't even know was there? Or maybe, which one did you find the most difficult, the most challenging to your worldview? There is so much wisdom in that friction, in that moment of resistance. The point isn't to agree, but to think, to feel, to question. The most interesting conversations are often the ones that start from a place of deep, personal reflection. I encourage you, my friend, to share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's create a space for this conversation, for this collective exploration. Let's learn from each other's perspectives and continue to question everything, especially the assumptions that feel most certain. Because it's in that space of profound questioning that we find the freedom to not just understand reality, but to actively participate in its creation. Thank you for thinking with me today.